I just made one of the biggest blunders I've ever made on this channel. And I was sitting here thinking I was live, and I wasn't because I didn't click the live button. So I did the countdown, I talked, I put up everybody's message, and nobody saw anything because I didn't hit the live button. What a great job. So I spent 5 minutes talking to myself. God in heaven. Anyway, I'm just doing a Star Wars stream. I know mostly this is a Johnny Depp channel. I do have a Rob's Rebellion channel. There are usually anywhere from 50 to 200 people who like to watch my Star Wars videos. They miss me doing Star Wars videos. So I thought, let me try to get back into it. Let me kick it off. I'll do stuff here first because there's more people who subscribed here. And then I'll throw the video to the Rob's Rebellion channel. Welcome, everyone. We're going to talk about Star Wars today. I hope that these guys show up. They said they would be here or they'd run late. I don't know. I hope they didn't forget. But if not, it'll just be me, you, and we'll talk some Star Wars. Check it out. That's it. Let me go see who's in my chat. It'll be Planet Q. She says, hi, all. I won't be able to join today or Sunday because of work. I will watch the replays. So Sunday, for those of you who are Depp fans, we're going to have Come Geek Some. Darth News will be here Sunday. It's going to be real early for me, 11 a.m. That's 4 UK and 5 in the CET, which is Italy and all those. So it's going to be really early on Sunday. So it should be a fun stream. Let's see who's here. Chocolate says, I can't believe this really goes on. I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea. But hello anyway, but I'm not sure what you mean. Annie says, hello, lovely peeps. Welcome to Rob's Rules live stream. Please remember to smash those shiny like and subscribe buttons. Cody Reese says, and nice to see you, Annie. Cody says, hey, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Annie says, hi, Cody. And then I said hello there. And then Megan says, hello, everyone. Annie says hi to me. Annie says, Rob, is Dan still coming to live stream? If so, when? Yes, Sunday at 11 a.m. with Dot News. We have to do it because Dot News has to go somewhere. So he asked for 11. And so we're going to do it Sunday at 11. It's going to be early stream. And then I'll do a member stream later on in the day. So I'll do 2 streams on Sunday. Through the Fog says hello. Hello, all. How are you, Through the Fog? M.A. King says, hi, mate. How's it going, my friend? Cody says, hey, everyone. Janie says, Rob, just dropping by to say hi and give the stream a like before I go to sleep. I love you all, and hopefully you will see you next time. Well, like I said, Sunday at 11 will be Dark News and Come Geek Some, so make sure you're there. It'll be 4 o'clock UK. Should be perfect time for everybody. Cody says, how's everyone doing today? I know I'm doing good. I hope you are. MMA King says, I have not watched Star Wars Visions and anime on Disney Plus. Let me tell you about that, and I want to talk about that. I'm enjoying it. I'm up to episode 9, and I have really enjoyed Star Wars Visions. I didn't think I'd be into anime whatsoever. I'm not an anime person. I'm not an anime type of guy. And then I just kept an open mind, and I said, all right, I'll watch it. And, man, I really enjoyed it. I thought episode 1 a lot. 2 was good. There was one that I wasn't so thrilled with, like 4 and 6 was kind of 7 I really enjoyed. 8 I really enjoyed. It was sad. 8 was good. 7 was really good. So I really enjoyed them. Maybe I should do a review of them. I got a lot of Star Wars material I can do and throw on the other channel. So maybe I'll do a Johnny Depp video or Johnny Depp short, and then later on the day I'll do a Star Wars, and then I'll transfer it to the other channel. I want to do 3 channels is my goal: a sports channel, a Star Wars channel, and this will remain Depp and Heard. And when Depp and Heard's over, maybe I'll just make this either true crime or I'll make it pop culture and entertainment. I haven't decided. Sam Glove says, hey, everyone. What happened? Your Gloves friend is here. Good to see you, Sam. How are you, man? Hope everything is good. Rob, that's King James. Hey, King James says, Rob, I miss our BF2 days. I hope you do. I do too. But the game has kind of fizzled. I will be gaming again. I started last week. I played Star Wars late at night. I finally bought a PlayStation. I had to buy a new TV. So I had a loan I took out, and it paid for the TV, the PlayStation, and a trip I want to take to Rhode Island, which is it's not like a little mini weekend getaway. So I paid for those things, and that's what I want to do. And I said, screw it, I want to do it. And so I got tired of not having my PlayStation. So I will be gaming again. I just don't know who's going to show up to Battlefront 2. I can't do Saturday night because I have an early stream Sunday. So I don't know. I'll try to either game tonight or tomorrow earlier. One of these nights. Chairman says, good evening, everyone. Just shared your stream. Hey, thanks, Chairman. That's very nice of you. The Glare, who has a channel, sends a lot of love. What's up, man? How you been? Vegas is sounds so good. I can't wait to. Sunday's gonna be fun. Sunday's gonna be a lot of fun. Hey, Cindy, what's up? You're not late. Don't worry about it. And he says, I'm not into Star Wars, but I thought I'd drop by. It's really nice that you guys drop by and say hi and just drop a like. And I really appreciate that you're even doing that if you're not into Star Wars. Thank you. I really appreciate that a lot. MMA King says, Rob, you never talked about the end scene of The Mandalorian of Luke. Yeah, I know. I kind of fell out after, you know what? It was so much hate towards Star Wars, and it wasn't getting that popular on my channel. It was like, okay. It was okay. You know, there was some videos that really shot up. There was some videos that did and I kind of was getting discouraged. So I kind of ventured out and I became entertainment in Star Wars because I wanted to talk about different things. And when I started getting to the Johnny Depp, a lot of people started coming, and I just kind of got more involved in that. I loved the community, was fantastic. A lot of love. With Star Wars, I would get like, I don't like it so much. It's dead. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. Oh, Disney sucks. Oh, and I didn't want to hear all that. I got tired of hearing that, and I need a break from it. And that's why I took a break. And the Depp community has been fantastic. And I'm going to make this channel is going to mostly become whatever they want it to become. So right now it's going to be Depp and Herd till the end of May. I will still do Star Wars stuff here, and I'll also mostly do it. And if you want to see all of my Star Wars stuff, I'm going to eventually put all the videos to the Star Wars Rebellion page. So I have a Star Wars channel, I'll have a Depp Herd channel, and if I decide to do a third channel, I can make it something else. So, King James, what do you say? Rob, oh yeah, I got that. 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 I just want to see if I catch up. Yep, talked about that. So the Luke Mandalorian scene, it was fun. Dude, it was one of the best scenes. I was never so excited to get Luke Skywalker back. It was the Luke I wanted. When Cara Dune's like, oh great, it's one X-Wing. And I'm like, I didn't think about it. I'm like, who's this? And then I see it and I'm like, oh, it's a Jedi. So I'm thinking maybe it's Ahsoka Tano. But then, man, when you see the glove, the black glove, I'm like, oh, it can't be. Oh, it can't be. And man, when you're using the Force and the lightsaber, oh, it was just, I loved every second of it. It was absolutely, what an ending. That ending was like the ending of Rogue One, the Darth Vader scene, which I did a reaction to. I could do a reaction to the Luke scene. It's never too late. Maybe I will if people push me to do it. It was just one of the best scenes. I was so happy, man. I was so happy. King J says, I started playing Battlefront 2 again, and the servers over here always, really? Well, maybe I'll try again. I'll give it a shot. Yeah, I'm doing well. Oh, no, we got a troll. Oh, my God. Really? I have to have a troll in here? A spammer. Got a spammer. Oh, I know what I have to do. Boot him out. I hate that spam stuff. Really? Get a life, man. Get a life. All right, let me boot him out. Stuff. Really? Get a life, man. Oh, someone deleted. MMA did. All right. Well, I just have to. Oh, I can't put yeah. Yeah, for now. That takes care of that. Yeah, thank you for timing them out, John Doe. I appreciate that. I mean, seriously, get a life. Let me catch up to sort of. Okay, Queen. Hey, Queen's Bloodstone. What's up? So hi, Rob. Yeah, I'm doing well. Andy showing love to the glare. Stam says, do you have any disposable gloves? What is with you and the fascination with gloves? Do I? I probably do. Yeah, I probably do. I just don't use them. I don't really use them too much, but I probably do. Like, I don't know if I had to go through trash or something for any reason, I would use them. But my house is pretty clean, just a little cluttery right now because I need to clean that up. But besides that, it's pretty clean. My daughter messes it up, but yeah, I, I, I don't know. That's a very another odd question. Anyway, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but I'm a fan of Johnny Depp, and my favorite rock band is Kiss. Your favorite rock band is not the Hollywood Vampires? Are you serious? How could your favorite rock band not be the Hollywood Vampires? I don't understand that. I don't get it. Sherry says, I love Star Wars The Mandalorian, but not supporting Disney though. Okay. Here's my opinion, and I totally get it because I know the sequel trilogy ruined Star Wars for a lot of Star Wars fans. I get it. I totally get it. But what I'm going to say about that is that George passed it on for a reason, and he wanted to give the fans what they wanted because he wasn't going to do any more Star Wars. He was done. He said, "Look, I'm 75 years old." I'll tell you what I think it was. I think that because of the prequel backlash, George Lucas just didn't want to do it. He just didn't want to do it. He was just like, I'm done. These fans who I want to tell my story, and they apparently don't want to hear my story. So he didn't want to do 789. He want to do it. He had it written up. He had it ready to go. He just said, nah, if they don't like it, I don't want to hear it anymore. And he's 75 years old. He wanted to focus on his family. But then he's like, you know what? But people still love the genre. Now, I don't know how much longer I'm going to live. I could live 10 years, 5 years, 20 years. I don't know. So I want to pass it to a company I trust. Now, he trusted them. If you remember, Star Tours happened to be part of Disney. So he had a great relationship with Disney. So he thought that they would do the brand well. And that's why he gave it to them. They screwed up when they didn't have a plan. They instead, what they were so concerned about was plastering this to a movie, hoping that people would just come and see it and park their asses in the theater. And that's all they cared about was making their money back that they gave them. They made their money back, but they got a lot of backlash for it because they didn't really have a plan. They didn't have a plan set. They should have planned it out. They should have thought about it. They shouldn't have rushed. They were too excited, and they rushed everything. And they kind of just cared about their Star Wars. And that's what happened. That's what ruined this. They could have made a Star Wars land, whole entire land devoted to Star Wars, where it had everything. Original trilogy, prequel trilogy. They could have brought back the EU, which is the legend called Legends now. They should have done that. I think that the Disney Plus is doing great. The Mandalorian, the Clone Wars, I've loved. The Bad Batch has been awesome. I think this Visions has been a lot of fun. The Book of Boba is coming out. Obi-Wan. We got Mandalorian season 3. I think there's a lot to like here. And the Tiki Waititi movie's coming out. I think you got to have hope. I think you can't give up on it. They did bad, but they're making up for it with Disney Plus. And if they stay the route of Disney Plus, I think they're gonna make a comeback. So don't give up hope on it yet. And remember, without Disney and without George giving it to them, we wouldn't have it anymore. And so I'm great. I have to look at the other side of the coin. I have to look at it as I'm grateful that we still have Star Wars. I wouldn't have had Battlefront 2. And I wouldn't have had the good times and met the people I did, like King James and other people. So I'm very, very grateful that I have that. And I'm very grateful that Disney carried it on because without Disney, I wouldn't have it anymore. I wouldn't want to talk about it. Now I want to do videos again, and I'm getting back into YouTube and I'm enjoying doing the Johnny Depp with the community. And I want to do a Star Wars community. I want to have both again. Even if one's more popular than the other, it doesn't matter to me. I don't know. I just feel don't give up hope. And much love to you, Queen, the rock star. You did it, Rob. I don't know what you did. Evelyn, how are you doing? Says, hi, everyone. How are you doing? Erin says, hi. How are you, Erin? King James says, got to go, but might see you on Battlefront 2. Yes, hopefully you will, man. I think I will play it. I think I will play it again so we can have some fun. Hello, Screams. How are you? You love the Hollywood Vampire. Oh, good. I'm glad you do because I was going to say, how could you not love the Hollywood Vampires? Come on. Which I heard it's only a rumor that they canceled the tour this year, but I think they're going to go back on tour. So I don't know what love Love. Oh, you love ST. What is it? When you mean ST? Street? No. What do you mean? Star Wars? I think you mean SW. Queen says I do like the Hollywood Vampires and Kiss too. Queen said also I wanted Amber to get fired from her acting career, not Johnny Depp. Wow. Yeah, listen, I totally agree. I think what Disney has done to him and what Warner Brothers has done is just fucking pathetic. They should have never have let him go. I think he could have. I think he could have been in this. I wanted Johnny Depp in this. I really did. I thought that he would have been great for this. I think that they could have gave him such a role for Star Wars. I would have been like, oh man, this is perfect. And I really think he would have done just a fantastic job had Disney kept him and put him in Star Wars, or even in Marvel. He could have been an enemy. He could have been some kind of bad guy for a superhero. It I just saw that, and I'm like, man, why'd they let him go? And they let him go because of hearsay. They didn't let him go because of evidence, not because he's in jail, not because it's been proven that he's. It hasn't been proven Jack Diddley. Jack has been proven. And that's what bothers me the most. And I would have loved to have seen him in Star Wars. I would have loved to have seen him in Marvel. I'm a Marvel fan. I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm a Ghostbusters fan. I can't wait to see Ghostbusters, Spider-Man, Venom. Tomorrow night, I'm going with Maya. We're going to go see, what is that called? Ron's Gone Wrong. We're going to see that tomorrow. So I'm pretty excited. I'm going to take her to see that. And maybe we'll do a review. Maybe me and Maya will do a live stream review on Ron Gone Wrong. I don't expect many people, but we'll just do it because I think it'll be great to have Maya's input for a movie that's more kiddish, but I think it'll be fun. And I think that's what we'll do. I think we'll have a fun live stream doing what's Ron Gone Wrong. I'm going to go see Ghostbusters and I'm going to go see Spider-Man. That's for sure. I was hoping to see Minamata, but here we are in October and there's been nothing about Minamata, which was supposed to come out November, December, and now I don't know. It's just so disappointing. So disappointing. MMA King says, "What's your thoughts on the Disney Plus Marvel shows?" I've watched WandaVision in full, and I loved it. I loved WandaVision. I thought it was absolutely it was so good. It was so good. Like in the first episode, you didn't know what the hell was going on, but it was entertaining. It was like an oldish style, and then it got a little bit more updated, right? It got, like the years went up, but you still didn't grasp what was going on until around the fourth episode of WandaVision. Then you get everything. Then now everything starts to really start to make sense, and it was really interesting where it went. And I truly loved it. I thought that WandaVision was kick ass. Low-key was amazing. That has been my favorite so far. Low-key was just phenomenal. Low-key was phenomenal. I truly loved Low-key. I hope someone comes. I've been on here 20 minutes already. Where the hell are all these guys? I don't know if they're coming or not. Well, whatever. I don't know what to do. I'll check my Twitter. But Low-key I loved. I thought Low-key was just oh man, I was so excited to watch Low-key. I did not watch The Winter Soldier yet. I did not watch the What Ifs yet. I watched The Bad Batch. The Bad Batch was good, but I think the Clone Wars was better. I think the ending of the Clone Wars was just unbelievable. Last 4 episodes were terrific. What else? I didn't watch the What Ifs yet. So those are next. So on my watching routine right now is the last episode of Visions. I've enjoyed the majority of them. And then I'll get to What If, and maybe I'll do reviews and everything. I don't know. There's so much to do. I don't know if I can do a review on everything. I really don't. But that's how I felt. And I'm looking forward to the Book of Boba. So I got a time between now and the Book of Boba, which is 2 months from now, to finish What If and the Winter Soldier. I got plenty of time. So, but I got wrapped up in the Depp Heard case a lot. So Queen says I have a crush on Johnny. I think a lot of people on this channel do. Kim Court says, hi, everyone. Minamata would be nice. It would be nice, and I'm very disappointed that it's not here. I think MGM trying to bury the movie is just wrong. I think that the story of Minamata needs to be heard. We need to hear it. We are going through a pandemic. which I know is, thank God, not. I mean, we've lost a lot of people. We've lost a lot of people, and whether people want to agree with it or not, they can say, "Well, this killed more people than that, and that killed." Whatever. You know, the bottom line is there's still people dead as a result of COVID, and you know, I just think it's wrong. I think the story Minamana needs to be told, and I'm very disappointed if I don't see it here in the United States. I'm very disappointed in it. I do love Supergirl and Wonder. I'm not a DC fan so much. I can honestly say I don't even know the last thing I saw. I think the last thing I saw was Aquaman, right before I covered the Johnny Depp trial. And I think that was the last. Well, no, I saw Wonder Woman, but I only saw half of it. I didn't see the other half. I fell asleep. I don't know. I just can't get into it. I mean, I think the best thing. I know Gotham. I heard was good. I heard that you know, there was Green Arrow and whatever, Flash and all these WB shows. I don't watch them. I don't have time for them. But I think the Batman movie looks really good coming out. I have to say that really, really draws me in. I think Batman looks. I mean, Black Adam looks good. I saw the trailers for them because I like Dwayne Johnson. He's one of my favorite actors nowadays. But the Batman really, of all the movies, Batman grabs me, and so I really want to see that. Somebody is here. We'll get to it in a minute. Hold on. Let's see who's here. Oh. Hey, man.
What's going on?
How you been? So those of you who don't know, this is the Real Reviews 2000. 2000? Was it 4,000? Is it 8,000? I lost count now. 3,000.
1, 2, 3. It's always been 3.
Do you think you should up it to 5 now because you're getting up there? No, it's
no. Even though, yeah, I'm like 55 now, but no, I'm sticking with the 3. It's always been 3. It's gonna stay 3.
So, Chris, perhaps you'd like to tell people who are watching what your channel's all about. I'd rather you do it now than at the end because then people drop off. But so people watching the replay can know, who is Chris Knight? Who is the Real Reviews 3000? Who is he? Go ahead, tell me.
I'm a crazy lunatic living in my basement. No, I'm kidding. Real Review 3000 is just kind of a mashup. I call it ADHD for YouTube, gaming, pop culture, discussion streams. I do a game show type thing called The Rumble. I have another channel called Chaos Central that I run, and I do things over there like the Star Wars Senate. We do roundtables based off of like the Marvel TV shows or other things like that. Lots and lots and lots of different stuff. So yeah, just check it out if you want. And thank you for having me on.
Hey, thanks for being here, man. I'm glad you came. Still hoping 19K makes it. Some guys, Dmajani and Calous, they all said they're running late. So I expect them hopefully in the next, between now and the next 30 minutes, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, so I'm here for a little bit. I'm uploading videos right now and doing stuff. So it's like always doing stuff. So
well, thanks for taking time out to come here.
No problem.
Let me get your thoughts on where is your mindset with this whole Star Wars thing? You know, I'm sure it was one way, and after the sequel trilogy, now you got Disney Plus, and where are you at right now?
I mean, there's some stuff that I like. I mean, yeah, my biggest problem with this is that when Disney grabbed it, I think a lot of us thought, hey, man, here's a company with a lot of money that can put a lot of thought into this. And at one time, Disney was pretty good at doing stuff like this.
Yeah. And
it's like they walked into it and they just fell flat on their face because they just didn't have any thought into it. It just was like, it was like watching Star Wars, but really watered down and somebody who didn't understand it. I mean, and you know, I'm not an apologetic person for the sequel trilogy. It's not like I hate it. I don't hate it. A lot of people know me as the sympathetic Last Jedi fan. There are parts of it I really like. I don't mind The Last Jedi. But every time I watch those movies, I have to make a lot of things in my head up to make it work. What's going on, Queen Barb? If I don't do that, I got no context. There's nothing there to help those movies. it's not like they plopped you in and gave you like a run up to how it got there. There's no context. And I think that's kind of some of the stuff they're doing with The Mandalorian and some of the other stuff is trying to find a way to bridge that gap between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, which I'm not against. And I mean, I know there's people like Steve Kenobi and a lot of other people out there who don't like Favreau and Filoni, and that they say, oh, they were tearing it apart. Listen, since day one, even George Lucas said it. He says there's so many different things with the writers who are putting stuff out, that there's so many different things going on that none of it fully ties together. He tried to do the whole, I approve this book, and this book because this is more in line with my vision. But nobody gets it completely right. Even George Lucas screwed stuff up in the prequels. So I try to take it with a grain of salt, but it's really difficult because Disney literally seems to be constantly like, here's something to work with, and then they say, oh, look, this is so beautiful. Look at this. Throw it on the floor. Stop on it. It's like they get this chance. Like, for instance, The Mandalorian, I think, was done pretty good. Now, I agree with a lot of people who say we haven't had really good Star Wars in a while, so it's really difficult to really gauge how good The Mandalorian is because, well, it's better than what we've been getting. But then they go and they take this shiny new toy and they throw it on the floor and stomp on it by firing Gina Carano. It's like, okay, even if she's not going to be in it anymore, what are we doing? Why are we doing that? Does it make sense to do that? And so they constantly seem to be going in try to go in the right direction, and then they're like, oh, no, screw this. Let's screw up. It's almost like Warner Brothers with DC. It's like, guys, just let it happen. I mean, look at what they did with a great director, Ron Howard, and the Han Solo, the Solo Star Wars story.
Right.
They gave him the pieces of a movie that wasn't even him. This is an award-winning director. They gave him a pieces of a movie and said, here, you got 6 months to wrap this. And so he did as many reshoots as he could do. He put it together as best as he can. And I didn't hate the movie, but it is definitely one of my least favorite movies. But they're being too they're being too reactive to things. And then you got a person in charge right now, and whatever you want to say about Kathleen Kennedy, let's just be honest. What she tried to do with the Force by saying the Force is female, and there's no question she said this. It's like, why does it have to be female? Lucas never put a gender on the Force. So for all you inclusive people out there, the Force was inherently inclusive. Star Wars was inherently inclusive. The strongest character of the good guys in the first movie is Princess Leia. I mean, what more do you have to do? And yet they seem to be thinking, no, we're not inclusive enough. We got to change this. We got to make strong female characters. You had all of that. It was all there for you, and you didn't do it.
That's a good opinion. Go ahead.
And I don't know. Disney maddens me because they have the money to throw at Star Wars. And like, for instance, like I said, with the Bad Batch and Mandalorian, I liked that those movies or those shows kind of went and showed us stuff we'd never seen before, went to new locations that we know about but hadn't seen. So it's not like they don't understand it. And I understand. I'm not going to get into it with the EU fans and the people who are hardcore saying, oh, they're screwing it up. The lore is all wrong, this and that. Listen, I won't dive that deep into it because, again, even Lucas has screwed that up.
Right.
I am doing well. Thank you very much, Queen Bar. But they really need, I think really what they need to do is have somebody like Filoni and Favreau who at least have a better grip on what Star Wars is.
Right.
And they need to be in charge of it. Kathleen Kennedy just needs to sit back and let things happen naturally with people who actually understand the story. She was always around these stories, but she was never a part of these stories. Truthfully, her thing, and God forbid what they're doing to it now, was Indiana Jones. She was more involved with Indiana Jones and understood Indiana Jones more. But I'm not too hopeful for that one either.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm still in a constant state of what's going on. What are they? What's their direction? After bringing Luke back in The Mandalorian, I was like, okay, now we're cooking with gas. And then they fired Gina Carano, and like it all fizzled out. It's like, okay, you've lost the moment. The moment was 6 months ago, and they lost it.
Yeah, I think the way they ended the show was fantastic for me. It was fantastic. I mean, you saw people. It was great. You saw people's react. People were actually literally crying over. I couldn't believe it. But it was such a powerful moment because it's what everybody wanted. And I thought, okay, maybe they're getting this now. You know, maybe they're finally getting it. I know what some people's argument is. Oh, they're using old characters. Oh, come up with new characters. But you know, my thing is, look, Lucas could have done so much with this galaxy, right? He could have made solo shows on everything. He could have made his own channel. He could have made his own land. He could have really poured everything into it because it's what we all wanted. It's like a religion. I don't know. Some people don't get it. It's like a religion. It's like a religion. Star Wars is like a religion. And people are very passionate about it. And, you know, like the EU, why didn't Disney make the EU canon? Why didn't they make a movie of the EU? Why didn't they make a Bane and all these characters? And
part of my hope is that, you know, truthfully, at this point, I'd almost much rather see Kathleen Kennedy get Bob Chapek's position as the head of Disney, because then she can't have her fingers in Lucasfilm as much. Move her up, put Filoni or Favreau or both at the helm of Lucasfilm. And I almost get the feel that when they're doing stuff, they're almost trying to bring back the EU because they're very much putting EU stuff in it. They're just, it's like they're saying, here, look, we're going to do this, because the way they do it, Kathleen Kennedy really can't do anything about it. She can't say, oh, no, that's not canon. Well, it is now because we put it in your show. And well, you said that everything that's on these things count as canon. So they're kind of slowly bringing in EU stuff. I think at least, like I said, Favreau and Filoni could at least start to correct some of the stuff.
Right.
But oh man, yeah, I think that was the biggest problem for most Star Wars fans. Is the second that Disney got it, like a month or two after that, they announced, okay, guys, the EU is no longer canon. And it's like the whole purpose of the EU, like I said earlier, everything Star Wars book-wise was considered EU, but there were certain ones that got that George Lucas stamp of approval as this is in my storyline. This is the story. Continue. And those books, as soon as they said the EU is no longer canon, they ruined it because that was their whole mythos.
Right.
Depending on how long you've read the books, you could talk about Splinter in the Mind's Eye, which is the second book written of the whole EU. And that one was it's a great book. It's not in that Star Wars universe. It doesn't really work in there. But then the next three you got there was the Han Solo trilogy. It came out, and I think it's 78, 9, and 80 in between Empire and Star Wars. These were stories they could have pulled that whole trilogy off and started with book one and adapted that into the Han Solo stories, and they could have had three. The other problem Disney had was this idea of let's stop the 3-year gap and let's do 2-year gaps between major movies, and in between those movies, we're going to have a movie. And they tried to rush the product out too quick.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I kind of like the idea if going that way, if they would have had a plan. But that's the thing. Like JJ came out a couple months ago, said, yeah, we really didn't have a plan. We kind of just went with it. You know, and we all knew this. We all knew that Kathleen was lying. We all knew that. Like, how do you not have a plan for a major movie? How could you come out with a movie and not have a story behind it? And then say, well, it's all you guys' fault. You're all white supremacists. You're all man babies. You're all this. You're all that. How do you insult your fan base? I mean, these are people who put money in your pocket. without us, you don't get the money. And it's funny, one of the guys who said that with Johnny Depp, he said people are starting to get it. They're starting to get like, hey, listen, Hollywood, guess what? If we don't come to your theater, you guys aren't, you're nothing anymore. We're doing other things. We're not paying attention to you. And it's true. We're streaming stuff. We're watching other TV shows. If they don't get that, the fans like us are the ones that support them. Without our support, this doesn't exist. This doesn't work.
Exactly.
I
think. Well, another thing, like I said, I'm not a person who rails on Disney. I am not one of those people. I mean, we know the people out there who do it,
right?
But there's a part of this that I feel like a true Star Wars fan, and I hate using that word. Let's just say a Star Wars fan, a devout Star Wars fan. The last thing you want is to see Star Wars die.
Yeah, of course. Now, I agree.
So a lot of these people who are calling it to be, let's stop it, it's over, it's done, Star Wars is dead. I hate hearing that because it's like, guys, you were still fans at heart. Let's just admit it. Star Wars needs help.
Right.
But you don't want to say it's dead. Don't say cut it off, kill it. Don't do that. We have to find. Well, I don't know. I think that here's a pitch real quick, and I'll go back to what I was saying.
Okay,
here's a pitch. Okay. I pitched the idea on a few shows where I said one of the first things I would do as Disney is a Jedi Sith series on Disney Plus. Jedi Sith, what it would be is one season, it would be based off of a Jedi, one we don't know about, get to start actually diving into the lore. You pick out whoever it is. I don't care. Pick anybody. I mean, even if it was like Obi-Wan, which they're kind of doing, but they're not going to do it the way that I would do it. I would pick like Yoda, for instance. You pick Yoda as your first Jedi, and you get to learn not where he came from, because I like the idea of Lucas had of not knowing exactly where he came from, but find him as he's becoming the Jedi Master, the legend we know. And you follow him for, let's say, 8 episodes until you get to where you know him. And then in the next season, it'd be the Sith version of it. So you pick, Darth Plagueis or somebody like that, and you'd get to know them, and you'd have 8 episodes to hash out their lore, their story. And this allows new fans to become Star Wars, understand Star Wars better. And then it also allows the fans, the ones who grew up with it, like you and me, Rob, to be like, ooh, I like it because you're eating it up because you know a lot about this stuff, but you get to see it now. The biggest problem Disney did is they kind of shit on the original fans and said, oh, this isn't your Star, this isn't for you. And that was the worst thing to do, because our job as fans of Star Wars was to bring our kids and bring the next group of fans with it. And if they just honored us, the original fans, they would have had tons of fans coming in.
Yeah, I agree. So, yeah.
But the Jedi Sith thing, I would love to do.
John Doe says I'd say fire the entire board of directors and executives and get people who care about the business in, and the stories will be better.
They do care about the business. It hasn't stopped making money.
Right.
It's making billions of dollars still to this day. Whether or not they sell toys or not, they're making money. And that's all the board of directors cares about. That's why Kathleen Kennedy will not get fired. Her contract's up in today, tomorrow, something like that, the 23rd, I think it is.
Right.
I mean, they may not announce that she's got a new contract, but she's probably going to get a new contract. I've heard rumors from people that I talked to that kind of have their hands in that feed, that there's a good possibility that Chapek's going to be used as a scapegoat, and they are going to move Kathleen Kennedy up, and then she'll appoint the next people, which I'm not hopeful that she'll appoint the right people, but getting her out of there, and really the only way you get somebody who in the investor's sense is successful is move them up. Get them out of there, but you move them up. And now she can't concentrate only on Star Wars. So then you're able to put somebody in there who might say, I understand enough about Star Wars that I can give you products that are going to not only sell well, but are going to re-establish the lore that people want. Unfortunately, we're never going to be able to redo the sequel trilogy what we got is what we got, and we got a horrible end to the Skywalker Saga because there was nothing about Skywalker in that. They literally had to just slap the name on her at the end of the whole trilogy to try to say they wrapped up the Skywalker Saga.
Right. I mean, first off, I think the ending would have been great had, because he says in the ending, Palpatine, he goes, if you kill me, I'm going to become part of you. And she does kill him, which I think is kind of crazy. Like, did he learn from Mace Windu using Force Lightning what's going to happen? I mean, so now he does that, and she throws it back at him. And I saw some fan do a fantastic job. Like they had all the Force ghosts of the Jedis. I thought it was fantastic. You saw Hayden Christensen. You saw them all Kenobi, Yoda, Mace, and they're all like there with her. I thought that was a fantastic. That was done so well. I love that. I think the other thing is, had they ended it, and I'll throw this at you because I always thought this should have been the end. So like she buries the lightsabers, right? And the woman asks who you are, and she looks and she sees Luke and Leia smiling, but then she turns the other way, and Palpatine could have been there. And knowing what he said, she could have turned it and said, I'm Ray Palpatine. Everybody would have been like, what the fuck? And she could have choked the woman, and BB-8 would have been like, what the? And they could have done a trilogy now where she's dark, and now Finn has got to get his group of Jedi and try to figure out how the hell am I going to stop her? She was, what do I do here? And I think that would have been a way to go with their characters, and they didn't do that. I think they did too much their Star Wars, what they wanted Star Wars to be, killing the past, getting rid of the old. I understand it's a war. You got to have characters die. Carrie Fisher died. We lost Peter Mayhew.
That was the biggest problem. They really missed the mark by not putting the original cast together once. And this is something you hear a lot. We didn't get, the Han, Luke, Leia, Chewbacca scene in the Falcon, and everybody thought we should. And that was so easy to do. I mean, they literally wasted a whole movie getting to Luke, and then. Okay, I don't hate the fact that he throws the lightsaber. I understand the problem because the lightsabers are really a problem in the trilogy because they don't treat it like what it said. In the prequels, you hear Obi-Wan look at Anakin and say, "This is you. It's a part of you. It is
it's your life."
And so it's very well understood that that's it was their weapon of choice. It was beautiful. Ooh, look who it is, the man from the dead. No, I'm just kidding. No, I've been watching your stuff on the cabinets and stuff, man. I just do it in the little I just do the Raspberry Pi and the inner units. Just these little things. That's what I do.
Oh, the Pandora's boxes.
I don't even bother with the big cabinets. I don't have enough. Well, I have enough room, but God forbid if I did it. I got so much crap in my house as it is. It's not even
you just got to like what Jeff Goldblum said. Life finds a way. The RK1-ups, they find a place to stay.
Yeah. Well.
So for those of you who don't know, now I should get the proper introduction. Now that he joined us. This is my friend 19K Fox. I met him in Manhattan on my birthday. I just say it was an honor to have met you in person, sir. Honor and a privilege.
Oh, the honor was mine, man. It was great. I had a great time.
It was we met up with the Dark Council. It was a fantastic time. So why don't you tell the viewers who you are and what your channel's all about, my friend?
Well, my channel kind of started like most people's did in the fandom menace, of which I think may not be as loud and proud as it used to be, but it's still alive. And, born out of the ashes of The Last Jedi. And since then, since that sort of wrapped up, the Star Wars, for the most part is over for me. Really kind of that chapter ended with the last episode of Mandalorian Season 2. I shifted my content and started focusing on something that I do like, which is these arcade machines back here. And so I do just a ton of this and a lot of builds and I do a lot of modding and just having a ton of fun. So Rob, thanks for having me on this channel. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming, man. Thanks for coming. We were talking to catch you because me and Chris been talking for about half hour now. We're basically talking about what we like, what we don't like, where it's going, what we think if it's going somewhere, if it's not, if it's dead, if it's alive. What are your thoughts, Fox? How do you feel about the whole kit and caboodle?
If anybody saw Drunk 3PO, he did a mashup of people weeping like babies on his channel, and I was on there. I think the clip of me kicked off the video. I'm like, wow, thanks, Drunk, I appreciate it. But it was the end of the Mandalorian season 2, and we saw Luke come back. And for me, I felt something in that moment that I didn't think I could with this new Disney Star Wars, and that was gratitude. Gratitude that someone was able to do what they did, given what we just went through. Gratitude for someone else seeing just something in that character that I loved and I wanted to see honored. And I thought to myself at that moment, I sort of wrapped that review up, ending the series. I thought, what else could I expect and where else can I go? So I kind of shut the book on it. And I think Star Wars, unfortunately, it's never going to be what it was. Ever. Right. It's never going to be what it was. It ended about as good as they could do it with the end of The Mandalorian. And I think that's where I'm at peace with it, I guess. Okay. Some of the anger has subsided. You can't take some of that stuff back, but hey, let's just kind of cherish the moments that are good. I'm actually diving back into the EU, the original EU, and just learning just a ton of. I missed out on a lot by just being the movie fan and the video game fan and not getting into that EU. There's so much depth there. So that's where I'm kind of spending a lot of my time when it comes to Star Wars.
I got you. Kind of like Ryan Kennel, RK Outpost. That's how he's very much into it, and I believe so is OG Star Wars. She's I'm
nowhere at their level. They're way up there. I'm just kind of trying to play catch up, but yeah.
She asks, guys, honestly, wouldn't we all like not just having a repeat of the story, just having a new storyline? That's a good question. What do you guys? I don't know. I'll go with Chris. What do you think, Chris?
I think that's what you got to do. And now, when I say new story, again, I said it. I would much rather somebody, and again, 19K, we all know the people who are big EU fans, and a lot of them speak out against Favreau and Filoni, and I understand that, but I think Favreau and Filoni at least understand the spirit of Star Wars. That's key. If you give it to them and say, listen, what do you want to do? I think they're going to dive into some EU stuff. Now, again, it's probably not going to it's not going to make a lot of people happy because it won't be exact EU because they got to play by Disney's rules where the EU doesn't exist. But again, they play this game of let's pull this planet, let's pull this character, let's pull this here. And they're pulling little bits and pieces of the EU and then making them canon again. And I think that they're the best point. I know a lot of people have said Old Republic. You could dive in, like I said, a Darth Sidious story would be nice. Not Sidious, a Dark Plagueis. I'm sorry, like a Dark Plagueis.
Yeah,
before Sidious was around.
Yes, I agree.
Stick with stuff we know, but we haven't seen. Like I said, one of the best things I think The Mandalorian and Bad Batch did was they brought in things that we'd read about or we'd heard about and actually showed us on screen that. And by doing that, again, you bring the older Star Wars fans into it and like, ooh, this is interesting. Again, we talked about it. Luke showing up made so many of us go like, oh my God, I didn't think they would do this. I saw that X-Wing, and until they showed the green lightsaber, I didn't think they were going to bring Luke back. I really didn't. I said, well, it's an X-Wing. Well, that's Luke's X-Wing. I said, well, yeah, maybe that was. And I looked at it because it was, first off, just watch right through it. And then they did it. And I'm like, oh my God. And he came in and he did the, and it's like he had enough of that kind of both sides of the Force because he is the Jedi. And again, it made all of us go like, oh my God, I didn't think they could do this. And they did it. Gives me hope that if they went to a new storyline, that at least they could give us something that felt more like Star Wars than what Disney offered us with the trilogy. Got to be careful, though, because you could really destroy it, too. But, yes, it has to be a new storyline. Luke and Leia and all that stuff is gone. You're done. You horribly did it. You horribly ended it. But let's move on to something new that we haven't seen.
How do you feel, Fox? What's your thoughts?
Kind of the same thing, because whatever they're going to touch is not going to hold true, I think, to the source material itself.
Right.
Maybe what they should have done from the get-go, from the very start, was jump forward 60 years, past The Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi, and just leave it all behind and then start completely fresh for the most part. So I think you do something new, something different. And then there's a part of me that would like to have seen the EU, the new Jedi Order would have been awesome. A completely different type of villain and a whole new story arc, but we see Luke still learning, not he is a master, but he's not all-knowing, omniscient. He's still growing in his leadership and becoming a better leader. You see the Marge age, you see the birth of his son and all that, and Han and Leia's kids and what they go through and some of those tragedies there. But yeah, I got to agree with Chris. I think that ship has sailed. I think you just move forward, way forward, and you just start all over, and hopefully you can get the creative juices flowing and keep out the politics. And I don't know. That's where you got to go, I think.
Before we were talking about their original plan, and I watch the guy once in a while. I know he's kind of clickbaity, but everybody knows Mike Zero. Everybody knows Mike Zero. I mean, but he was dead on a couple times, and one of the things he said that I know he was dead on was like their plan was to do, like Chris was saying before, like every 2 years put out the main movie, and in between put out a solo movie. And I was like, if they could pull this off and it's good, I'm down with it, because there's so many characters who I would like to hear a backstory about. Like, yeah, Plagueis would be one of them, or Bane, or all the characters. Like, we see the characters, but we don't know their history. We don't know where that's why I thought the Clone Wars cartoon was so amazing, because the clones actually weren't just there. They weren't just guys with a gun and shooting. They were actually, you felt like, wow, this one has a story. Each one has a backstory. And we were starting to learn different things, like about Anakin and how he was becoming to the dark side and how he actually saw his future in one episode. I thought it was really great. And I was like, why can't we get backstories? We have so many characters, yet we don't know enough about them. Why can't we get those backstories? And I thought this would be wonderful. How about a solo Vader movie, a solo Luke movie, a solo Chewie movie, etc., etc., etc. Go ahead.
You start there, right there. You said the one that I think, as long as they had the right people, the right showrunner or right writer and director, you said it. Darth Vader, like from Revenge of the Sith to Rogue One, which I know, again, the Obi-Wan series is going to touch into that, which I don't agree. I mean, I'm not saying that they could have never met again, because the reference that everybody wants to say in Star Wars, where they says, oh, we meet again at last, or, whatever the exact line is, that doesn't necessarily mean they never saw each other again. Because, again, the Darth Maul stuff, Darth Maul was a revolving character, kept coming back into the fray. But Darth Vader on his own is a compelling character, and there is a lot of time that we're missing of him. And it'd be great to see that side of it. I mean, again, another thing Disney did right was Rogue One. I think Rogue One felt like Star Wars again. And then the way they treated Vader, it was like that Luke Skywalker scene. It was like, oh my God, here it is. This is what we wanted. And then they fucked up everything else. It's like, how can you do something? And then again, Rogue One is not perfect. Rogue One is not perfect. But the good thing about Rogue One is they kill everybody in the end. Everybody's like, well, and they're like, the characters aren't compelling. I said, it doesn't matter. They don't have to be. It's the story you're following, not the characters. They all die. Who cares? It was a compelling enough movie that when I watched it, I was like, ooh. And to this day, even though, again, it's not nearly on the level of anything Lucas did, I have to watch Star Wars right after, because it fits right in there. It just slides right in just perfectly, and I like that.
I'll get to your question 1 second. Hold on. I just want to introduce my man, Dmajani. How are you, man? What's going on?
Dmajani, how you doing?
Welcome. How you guys doing?
Doing
Hey,
good.
the Bacardi and Sprite right here, brother.
Absolutely. My man's addicted.
just want to say,
Ain't nothing
it was
wrong.
a pleasure meeting you. Also, I met you and 19K in Manhattan, and dude, it was great to meet you. You're a great guy, and I was so happy to see you and Fox in Manhattan, man. I had a great time, bro.
It was fantastic. I just wish it was sunny. That was
Huh?
the only thing. That was the only thing that made it just. It would have made it just that
Now,
much better if it was just sunny. Just that over.
Dmajani,
What's up?
you got to remember, it's called It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, not New York.
Listen, I'm from Brooklyn. It's always sunny there.
I had to pull out that crappy line. Sorry, I'll cross that one off in the book of don't say this again.
By the way, Fox, I have to tell you, I think I might have a problem.
What's wrong?
I think I had about 3/4 of that bottle of Bacardi already.
You admitted you've had a problem. That's the first
I think
step,
I might have
all
a problem.
And you come over and help you finish it, and then you won't have a problem anymore.
You know what the problem
And then
is,
we're
I'll
right?
be right back, guys.
The problem is the fact that the Bacardi, the rum, goes down a lot smoother than the vodka. So it's just like go go go. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like,
It's exactly
look. I just started
know.
this. I'm already halfway through the glass already. I think I have a problem.
Yeah, I've got a half and half myself. I'm working on.
So we're gonna catch you up to the. I mean, we've been going on and on. So Dmajani, you still kept the Star Wars channel mostly, unlike me and Fox
Well,
kind of changed up. But go ahead.
So my channel wasn't necessarily specifically Star Wars. I mean, I might have. Excuse me. I have the icon there because I'm a Sith Lord. But that's besides the point. My channel really wasn't necessarily supposed to be all about Star Wars. It just happened that Star Wars, once I saw what they was doing to Star Wars, it almost made me shift to that, which, by the way, here's a little teaser. Actually, today's episode of Dmajani channel, I'm actually talking about some Star Wars stuff. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Make sure you go check it out after this live stream.
Okay.
But, yeah, I haven't talked about Star Wars. I mean, I talk about basically pop culture, and I'm really, to be fair, Dmajani means spell breaking, right? That's why a lot of my thing is spell breaking, dispel. So what that means, I really was going after basically, politics, entertainment, music, all that stuff. That's what my whole channel was supposed to be about. But it just happened that I was leaning heavily on Star Wars because they pissed me off the most. Like, like, I know a lot of people, their thing was, Doctor Who, Star Trek, but Star Wars is my thing. Now Star Wars is my top, Marvel's my second, and I see what they're doing to Marvel, so I'm like, oh. Like, I don't like what they're doing in the MCU. Like, MCU was good, phase 1, 2, and 3. 4 going forward, I don't know. But to be fair, my channel isn't all Star Wars, but you will see, some Star Wars here and there, especially now. Then since we got some things coming up, we got the Obi-Wan show coming, we got the Boba Fett coming, so I will discuss these things, but they're probably not going to be nice things. That's all I'm going to tell you. They're probably not going to be nice.
That's okay, man. That's okay. That's fine, man. Listen, I that's why I brought you guys here, because I know everybody's going to have a different opinion, and I think the thing that killed it for me was the split in the fandom.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I came here because I was hoping that the Star Wars. We wanted to get involved with the Star Wars community. That was my first goal, and I was excited, and then when I saw such a divide, I was like, wow, this kind of sucks. This is not, because back in the day, you know what the divide was? Are you a Star Trek fan? Are you a Star Wars fan? That was the divide.
That's it. That was it.
Divide.
It was almost like you had the secret handshake, right? I mentioned this before. Like, if you meet somebody who likes Star Wars, you be like, and just keep it moving, right? Now it's like, you like Disney Star Wars or you like George Lucas Star Wars? That's the line.
I think. Listen, okay, guys. Does it always depend on the director? No, I think it depends on the person writing the movie, writing the story. The director and the actors, and they go along with the story and they do the best they can with what they're given. It's really the writers. It's what attracts people to go to a movie is usually the writing. And more people will go if the people who first see it say, "Oh man, it was great. You got to go see this movie." Now the people who haven't seen it are like, "Oh man, I better get to the theater because this person and this person, that person saying what a great story it is. What a great movie." Now I want to go. A lot of people come to YouTube, they'll see a review and they're like, "Yeah, the movie was okay." Not divided. Do I want to waste $20 and popcorn and soda and all that? And I don't know. I don't know if I want to waste my money. So if the movie's good and the writing's good and the story's good, no matter what movie you pick, you're gonna go see it. If it's not a good story, are you gonna waste your money? It's like, I'll wait till it comes on cable. I don't care.
Yeah.
And of course, the problem is if it was a self-contained one movie thing, that's one thing. But when you got an overarching story, well, I'm sorry, let me take that back. You're supposed to have an overarching story over many, many movies and multiple directors. So as long as everybody's coordinated and working together and there's a good solid handoff between movies, it can work. But, that was the problem from the get, is that you had this disjointed nature, this separation between movies where directors and writers were just wanting to do their own thing. You can't do that when you're trying to tell one cohesive story.
Correct. Absolutely.
So it's not necessarily the director, but it is the direction of the franchise.
Yeah.
Well, it also, and to really streamline that, what they really needed was a good leader, which they don't have.
Yeah.
They don't have a good leader.
I don't know who David Lynch is. Do you guys know Dune? I think he has to do it. I don't really know. So I don't know if Fox or Dmajani.
Yeah, the original Dune that he did the original Dune. Well, I'll say the original. It's the one that they did in the 80s. So.
Yeah.
So she said, I would love to see him direct Star Wars. That would have been way darker. What do you guys think of that?
If it was something like a Sith-based movie.
You know what? I'm glad you mentioned that. That's the one thing I wish they would do. Even though I know that's what the Acolyte's supposed to be. It's supposed to be based on the Sith. But they're going to... honestly, when I hear this Acolyte thing coming up, I am almost certain they're going to F with Darth Plagueis.
Probably.
Almost certain. They're going to F him up.
Real quick, Rob, I got to run upstairs and finish my dinner and everything and then eat. Sure. I will come back and check and see if you guys are still alive. But to that point, Dmajani, I already pitched it earlier. I said when they started doing the Disney Plus stuff is they needed to do a Sith and a Jedi series. One season would be a Jedi, so let's say Yoda, and you'd learn everything about Yoda you didn't know, except for I would still not tell you where he's from, and I wouldn't go in. I would just start when he's starting to become that Jedi that we know, and show that path until you get to the Master we know. I would not say where he's from or anything like that because I still like that they don't do that. He
needs to be a mystery. He needs to be a mystery. That's what makes Yoda good, is the fact that he's a mystery.
Yeah, and then the second season would be a Sith, or vice versa. You start with Sith, you go to Jedi, and you start learning about the Sith and the Jedi that you want to know more about. And the whole season, like 8 episodes, is about them. So Plagueis, Bane, Revan, all these guys. I
would love to see the split. That's what I would love, because that's one thing.
That would be awesome. Yes,
that's the one thing that we hear about it, we've read about it. But I would like to see what was it that made that split. Like, with Anakin, it was, him wanting to save his wife, right? And the fact that he lost his mother. So I want to see what influenced a whole group, because it was what they call a 100-year war.
Yeah. I think 1,000-year war. Was it
100 or 1,000? I know how to won.
Rob, I will check back in.
Catch you later, brother.
Later, Chris.
All right, guys.
And I would like to see what was the catalyst that split because before it wasn't Sith, it was actually Dark Jedi. When they went to Korriban, that's when they became Sith, because they took over Korriban, which they had there was an indigenous alien people there that were called Sith, who they dabbled in the dark. They didn't know how to use the dark side or the Force, but being that the Jedi, the Dark Jedi came there, they worshipped them as gods because they knew how to use the Force for real.
Right.
So, and then they adapted the Sith teachings, and then they became the first Sith Lords, right? So I would love to see the split. That would be great. I would love to see that. But unfortunately, I don't want to see it from Disney. So
and that's the problem we have.
That's the problem.
That's the problem we have.
I don't want to see it from Disney.
Yep.
So listen, here's what I say. George did this because, and I think I told Chris this before. I'm not sure if Fox was here. George did it because he was getting older. He didn't. The backlash he got from the prequels. He knew the fans still wanted Star Wars, but he didn't want to do it. That was the thing. So he wanted to pass it on to a company he trusted. He figured they had a ton of money. He trusted them. They did Star Wars tours. I don't know if you know back in the day, but they took Star tours and they had that ride and everything, which they still have. But the thing is, to me, here's where they went wrong. Instead of you're preserving the legacy and the old and respecting the past so you can make a present in the future, they didn't do that. They just wanted their Star Wars. They wanted to get rid of, as fast as they could, let's get rid of everything and let's just focus on our stuff. Let's make the Batu and let's make Galaxy's Edge.
What is Batu anyway? I'm so glad you mentioned that. Like, what is that? What?
It's nothing.
What is Batu? What is that, ladies and gentlemen? What is Batu? What is Batu? Or for $500, what is Batu, please? What is that?
If you've been there, I mean, if you've been there, there's nothing there. There's like some shops and a couple places to eat, but it is like
you've been there before, Fox, right? You went there with drunk, right?
It is.
Yeah, and it's just devoid of all personality and inspiration, and that's what it is. It's like a facade. It's like if you've ever been to Canada. I don't know if you've ever been to Canada. You go to Canada, and you're driving around in Canada. And it's like they got all the stuff we got. They got the Walmart and they got the Lowe's and they got the stuff and you remember. But the color is a little bit different and it's a little bit off. And you realize it's sort of like a simulated America. It's like it's not quite, it's almost like those towns that they made in Russia when they would simulate coming to America and taking over America. It's like this facade. It's this fakeness. That's what it is. It's just there's nothing there. And that's what you get with this Disney Star Wars stuff is that you don't have the inspiration, the core story.
It's done by corporate. It's done by corporate rather than.
It's a machine. It's like
than somebody's
printing
vision.
something out. Yeah,
we've seen this. Who was it? I think it was just some guy said it. He said that when you had Tolkien, when you had George R.R. Martin, and then you have George Lucas, when they were doing their stuff by themselves, it was great.
Yes.
Now you got them about to screw up Lord of the Rings. They're about that we saw what happened with Game of Thrones once they ran out of stuff with there, and obviously what we see what happened with obviously with Star Wars. It doesn't work when it's a committee. Well, if it's a vision, so like if I put it like this here, we have this thing that's been going on like the Welcome to Rebellion, which is basically, hey, let's do our own thing. Just take this for notes. Anybody that want to do their own thing, don't sell your property. License it. Make people pay you to use it, but don't sell it.
Well,
don't ever sell your stuff. And that's the thing that kind of pissed me off with George, because George could have said, look, I'm not going to do it, but I'm in charge. I'm going to hire some directors. You do what I tell you. That's what he should have did.
Sometimes
he should have did that.
Sometimes, I mean, when people don't understand too, and I'm just as guilty of this as anybody, sometimes the story just needs to end. Sometimes it just needs to end. And the 6 movies that George did could have been it. And then you could have had Lucasfilm and everything doing games and doing movies, or not movies, but TV shows and stuff, and delving into the sandbox he created. But don't go beyond that. It ends with with Return of the Jedi. It ends with it. That's it. It's done. And you can go back, but you can't go forward. And people can't live with that. They got to advance the story.
Well, the thing is listen, they could look, you know what, if let's just say in a perfect world George sells it and Disney does right by him, right? They keep the EU. I think that was the biggest flaw right there. Because all they had to do, I said this 1,000 times and I'll say it again. All they had to do was say, look, what happened from Return of the Jedi to right when they sold it, which is Abeloth. Abeloth was the last big bad that was in the books, right? You say, look, the next movie, episode 7, is going to be placed right after that. This way you can have Luke, Leia, and everybody be the same age they were in the books, right? You start the new movie out with Jaina Solo as your main protagonist and her apprentice, Alana Solo. Actually, let me correct myself. It should have been Jaina Fell because she got married at the end of that. So it should have been Jaina Fell, and her husband would have been Chief of State. She'd have been the Jedi Master. Luke still would have been there, but you could have had him be like a Master Roshi rather than a douchebag. Because you can have your old characters still be there without having to kill them off. It can happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's my go-to when I always say about having your older characters. I mean, Goku's the most powerful person it's his story. He's the most powerful person in Dragon Ball, right? But he still goes to his master to get wisdom because he's older and wiser than he is. So you can still have Jaina being your main focus, her new apprentice, Alana Solo, and she could always have her uncle as, somebody she goes to for guidance. That's it. You didn't have to kill him off. You could just have him be in the background.
I think
they could have did that.
And you're right on point with that. I think about when a movie starts, and you can even take episode 4 as an example. You get those big sweeping establishing shots, just kind of letting you know the world you're in. And I think about the cameras coming into these planets, Coruscant, whatever it is, and we see visually where the Republic is now, and we can have a large, thriving economy. We can see the Jedi Academy in all of its glory, and you could have had Luke and Leia and Han as those strong background characters, sort of similar to the roles that we saw with Yoda. Yoda wasn't in every scene,
Exactly.
But that could have been their roles, and just knowing they're there, it's almost like comfort food, like a warm blanket.
Yeah,
there they are,
exactly,
and that's there, and we know, like you said, keep the EU intact, and so we know if we want to read the stories about how badass Luke was,
exactly, that's it.
Go partake of them.
Exactly,
they're right there. Yes.
This way, look, and this is how stupid they are. Because guess what would have happened? You would have had tons of money that was already printed for you. You didn't have to do the old Republic. I mean, what was it? The High Republic. The High Republic is doing nothing. The High Republic is doing nothing. You would have had the entire EU, right? You would have had the entire EU that you could have just been basically printing money.
Just reprint.
You just reprinted.
And there you go.
You would have just been money just been printed because now you would have said, listen, if you want to see Jaina Solo, you want to see what happened before that, here's 30 years of material, or 20 years. 20 years of material, you got that. But we're going to start from here, from episode 7, it's going to be Jaina fell and going forward. And you know what's so crazy about that? Because the way they ended the Abeloth series, they were opening the door for the one Sith, which is Darth Krayt. So that could have been your new big bad. You could have had Darth Talon. Come on, I mean that's the right. I understand why. That's to me. The one thing I have not seen on screen is a female Lady of the Sith.
Yeah,
Lady of the Sith. And you want to talk about female representation? Where's my Lady of the Sith?
And you're talking about money. You're talking about money. Just the new Jedi Order, I think, was 20 books. Just one story within the EU was that. People would have gone back to them. You could have mined those properties. Like I said,
Absolutely.
Put a new package on them, put a new cover on them, stamp the Disney freaking logo, Disney/Lucasfilm in there, and then just ship it out. And people would have ate that stuff up. And you could have developed TV shows based on all this existing property. Everybody would have been happy. But the only bold decision they made was killing the EU. And that was...
Yeah. And you know what's so crazy about it, too?
Yeah.
Look how people are loving what doo-doo they putting out there, right? The crap that they're putting out. Imagine if they would have put something out good. Imagine if they would have put the EU out. These people, these same people that like, it would have been, it's too predictable to have Luke be. Well, come on, man.
You're right. But think about, okay, put your marketing hat on. Think about all this stuff, like you're talking about toys. You're talking about merchandising.
And that's what made George Lucas a billionaire.
All the Sith, all the Jedi and a few Sith that existed within the EU. The Yuuzhan Vong, all these big bad guys. You talk about figures, $200 lightsabers, geeks like us have been buying left and right. All this crazy stuff you could have just started putting into production, and they didn't have to. You didn't have
to have a story group. You didn't have to hire people.
It's already.
You didn't have to do any of this. This stuff is already made for you. All you had to do was say, "Look, if you want to put your hat on, right? You want to do your creativity hat." All you had to do is say, "Okay, what's the story can we tell going forward that's going to lead to Darth Krayt?" That's it. Darth
all you
Krayt should have
gotta
been
do.
your new big bad. That's it. That's all you had to do. That's your new big bad. You could have started out with Darth Talon. But like, she's like, oh, she's the new lady of the Sith, but no, it's somebody even worse than her out there, right? And the main thing is you don't kill anybody off. You keep them being there, like they're just like that thorn in your side until you get to the
And
main
it's options. It's
big
options too.
yes.
Yes.
Because remember, the one Sith, what Darth Krayt does is he says, I'm going to, and I might be a little off on the way his philosophy was, but when he says the rule of two, I want to put that to the side. I want to be one Sith that has all the power, and everybody else comes to me. That's how he basically made it. So he had more Sith, but he was the only Sith to crave all.
Right,
so basically,
right.
instead of having one master and the Sith and the apprentice to crave the power, he had multiple apprentices to crave his power. That's how he wanted it. So, and which, by the way, to be fair, it actually kind of worked for him because he took over the galaxy.
It makes sense.
He did take over the galaxy like that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think
the options were there.
I think the biggest mistake was the first thing I would have said was you got to dive into the EU because George was like, you want to write your stories. I don't care, whatever. And then George would make a character and say, hey, you guys don't have that character in the EU, right? No, okay, good. I'll then I just want to make sure. He didn't care who wrote what, or he just let it go. But imagine if he did care. So I'm like, man, I always wondered in my head when I was a kid, like, why didn't George have a TV show? Consistently.
Mm-hmm.
I know there was the Underground or whatever was supposed to come out. And I saw.
Oh man, that would have been awesome. Yeah, that would have been great.
Like, could you imagine? We saw, see, that's what Disney could do. That Disney has the power to say, hey, we can dive into the EU. Hey, we can tell Darth Plagueis. Hey, we can tell Darth Bane. Hey, we can tell the 1,000-Year War. Hey, we can. Man, people would be like, here, take my money. Take my money. That's it. Take my money.
Pretty much.
People, I don't care how many people on YouTube would bitch about it. They do it for views and clicks. That's it. But I guarantee they'd be one of the first people online. I guarantee it. I guarantee that if Disney does a turnaround and say, let's make this happen, let's do this, and somebody slaps them around a little bit, and they're like, yeah, well, you know what? Let's do it.
Right.
I'm gonna shock you and everybody in the chat right now.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna shock you. I didn't mind Visions. I didn't mind it.
I like Visions.
I didn't mind it. You know why? Because it was something that it actually when I watched them. Now, granted, it wasn't for everybody, but after I was done watching them, I wasn't mad. It felt like Star Wars to me. Like when I watched The Last Jedi, I left that theater mad. I was pissed. Right? I wasn't mad when I watched these.
Look at this. Let me hold on. Wait. Hold on.
I appreciate that. But I think they need to aim much higher than me.
Just thought I'd share that with you.
I appreciate that. That's flattering.
I agree with that statement, by the way. But I just think that, like, wow, man, like, to me, if someone said to me, hey, Rob, here's Star Wars, like, really? Really? You're going to give it to me? The first thing I would have done was got the writers from the books in and said, let's do EU. Let's start from the beginning. Let's give the fans what they want. Let's go to the beginning. Let's give them the whole history, and we'll give them something new later on. But let's focus on the past.
Absolutely.
And again, get to the present, because there's so much in between that people want. How about the Jedi Purge? How awesome would it have been seeing Vader going around with the Inquisitors, Jedi's hide, telling their story, what they've been doing, where they hide, how they escaped, what happened. Like we get that here and there, which I'm loving. We get that like with what was that video game that was just out? They gave a little bit of it. They gave a little bit of taste of it. Damn, I think like Calous. The one with
Fallen Order?
No, what was it?
Jedi Fallen Order?
Yeah. Like we have Calous, and they give 66. They talk about it and how he got in the Clone Wars. Like we see what happens with Kanan. I'm like, oh my God. The Bad Batch. They give bits and pieces. I'm like, man, imagine if they would have gave this and gave Vader, and Vader's chasing, hunting people down, and oh my God. They give it in a comic book, and that's why I got the comic, because I was soaking it up. But man, I would love to see it happen. Love to see it happen.
Big shouts to Keely Talks. Giving us a raid. Giving us a raid there.
Hey,
she's a good friend of mine. Keely's a good friend of mine. She's
Hey,
she's
Keely.
awesome. She's
So
really cool.
you know what? Listen, I tell you like this here. Like you hit the nail on the head. What could have been done is they could have went. What was it? The timeline goes 20,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. So we're talking the time when the Jedi
yeah, the
used
Jedi.
swords.
Yeah.
Used swords. They force imbued the swords.
You
That
know
was
who
their
says
weapons.
that? You know who says that? The Jedi, and she doesn't mean to say it, but it's just her accent. Hey Viv, if you ever watch,
Oh yeah,
Hey
yeah. I
Viv,
know. I
Yes.
knew he was going to
Yeah.
say
dude,
that. Yeah.
I can't. I laugh my ass off every time I hear her say it. I like, oh, I love it. I love it. I love to hear her say it. 'Cause
So
it's so
it
funny.
would have been awesome that, like I said, like you could have started out with, you know, them learning to get the space, space travel, and then start traveling other worlds. You know, you could literally, like, if they was to start like that and then just work their way up. I mean,
Yeah.
you could. That's where you can literally have a Star Wars movie every year,
Yeah.
and
How
it
about
would
Plagueis?
flow.
Would you not want to see Plagueis and how Palpatine became Palpatine?
Yes, but I'm telling you, that's where the acolyte's going to come in. The acolyte, I'm pretty, because the High Republic, the acolyte is supposed to take place at the end of the High Republic. The High Republic goes into, so the acolyte is supposed to take place right before the events of a Phantom Menace. So you got to talk about Plagueis then. If it has anything to do with the Phantom Menace, Plagueis is going to be there.
I
Or
hope
at
so,
least
man. I hope
Tenebris.
so. I
Tenebris
hope
might be there,
so.
which is Tenebris. Well, again, I'm using EU names, but Tenebris was Plagueis' master, right?
Okay.
So if they do Tenebris, then it's going to go to Plagueis, then obviously Palpatine. Again, I would love. I mean, I couldn't tell you how much I would love to see Bane Sith.
Oh,
Start with
yeah.
Bane,
Oh,
and then just work your way
yes.
from Bane to Xana to Darth
Yeah.
Cognis, and then onward. Because those are the three that I know of, but then it kind of gets vague from there because
Right.
you can play around with who's a Sith Lord and who wasn't, right? And then you have some I forget what's his name, Darth Millennia. He actually left the Sith Order, so he basically became his own thing, which could be a whole nother. You can open up all these can of worms because
know.
remember
I know.
there is the main rule of two, but there were other Sith out there, like
Of
the
course,
Lost
yeah.
Tribe.
Yeah.
The Lost Tribe of the Sith was they existed. This is all stuff that they could have been jumping into that they just we're just gonna get rid of EU because we're smarter than George Lucas. Okay, let me explain something to you fools, right? 20 years Star Wars was kept alive without you doing anything, with no movies. No movies. Think about that. There was no movies for about 20 years. And it was alive because of the EU. So everybody who said, all these people think, oh, the EU suck. Go F yourself, because the EU is what really kept Star Wars alive. EU did that. It wasn't Disney. It wasn't even George. George was given the stamp of approval, but he said, listen, you guys gotta do this. I mean, think about it. Things like Coruscant came from the EU. Double-bladed lightsabers came from the EU. These are things that are mainstream now in the Star Wars canon. So for people to say that, you're either not a fan or you're just ignorant to the situation.
Ignorant. I think, yeah,
basically.
ignorant. I think ignorant is. I just want to say thank you, Ro. I really appreciate that. We love it. I love you too. Thank you so much. That's very nice of you. I hope all is well. A lot of people's channels are stopping by. I had the real Rosie Wren. I know you guys don't know. Lady Toriel. I don't know if you know her.
What's up,
She's-
lady?
Oh, we
we
know
know
her, yeah.
lady. Lady's
She's
been everywhere.
Lady's been there from the beginning.
Miss McCarthy's someone new, and she's a sweetheart. She's very nice. And Keely Talks. I just want to say thank you, all of you, for stopping by, all your channels. Very nice, everybody stopping and saying hi. I thought, man, I'm like you guys. I wanted the in between stories, you know. I think I said this earlier to Fox, but Dmajani, I don't think you were here. And I was like Mike Zero, we know Mike Zero, okay? You know,
Everybody
the guy
knows
who puts
Mike
up
Zero.
17
Oh, yeah.
videos a day.
Mike Zero's he's the gossip man.
Yeah. So he did one video and I had to watch it and I thought it was on point. I loved it. And he was just being him. And I was like, wow, he's actually not holding back. Like he's just being himself. Like he's not even care about anything. And he's like, I would love to see them put out a great story. But if you're gonna have 2 years and 1 year, I'm down for it. But give us these solo movies we're seeking, and put out some good stuff. And don't rush it. If you have to rush it, then maybe you do 4 years and 2 years or something. I was like, Mike, man, wow, I love this fucking video. I love it. Like, he was just on point. He was just like, I want to see a good story, and I would love to see a solo movie about a character. And there's so much you can do. And I'm like, they're sitting on a zillionaire gold mine, and they just don't know what to do with it. They just don't understand. Like, when this guy...
Oh, no, they understand. They just think they're smarter than everybody. That's the problem.
Yeah, well, they're not. They're not. I mean, listen, like, there was a guy, I don't know if you guys remember, about a year or two ago, some fan, and he made, like, Star Wars Land, right? And I thought that was great. And he had, like, the Death Star as the middle.
Oh, when he designed it? Yeah.
That made all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
I was like...
And Disney could have did that. They could have did that. See,
Easily.
the problem is, the biggest problem is that they spent almost $5 billion, and their investors like, we want our money back. That was the main problem. That's why everything got rushed, because they wanted their money back. They wanted return on investment. This is why I said
this is why I don't understand why they didn't just call it a crutch, whatever. They could have leaned on the old trilogy, and the prequels. They could have leaned on that. They could have made that Star Wars Land, put the Death Star in the middle. Who cares? I mean, just drag up that old
could you
stuff.
imagine them actually doing they couldn't do it by scale, but I mean, they could definitely do something that's
like a representation of the Death Star.
Yeah,
think about the roller coaster that could have been from Return of the Jedi, but you're like the speeder, in the Force. All that stuff, man. I mean, it could have been crazy. The trench run, you could have been doing that.
Yeah,
it would have been amazing.
Listen, how about the pod racing? Like, instead of the go-karts, you would have had pod races,
there you
right?
go. I mean, all that stuff.
You guys remember Action Park? I never went there. I wish I would have been there. Action Park, you basically had the go-karts. I think they basically got sued to oblivion because probably got really hurt on there. But it was basically go-karts.
Right, people got hurt, man.
Yeah,
people were getting hurt in that park. Yes.
Yeah, because there's no way that was safe. But they basically had almost like a mini. It was a go-kart, like F-150 basically fight races going on. And it was like a track and stuff. I'm like, they could have did that. No, I don't think that Disney would have did that, because they probably we're not doing that. But it would have been kind of cool to have something like that, similar to like a pod race, Yeah,
I mean, I think it would have been great. I was thinking how everybody likes to get in the Falcon. They made the Falcon round. I was like, can you imagine they made a video game where one side there's two huge places. Like, one side is all Sith vehicles like Vader and a TIE fighter and this, and the other side you have the X-wing, the Y-wing. So you choose which way you want to go, right? And then you have 5 versus 5 or something like that, and you could have a whole bunch of AI, and you're playing this gigantic screen, and you're in the ship, and you just got to verse the other guy, like a video game. But you're actually in the ship. Could you imagine how?
That would be amazing. That'd be awesome. And I think about. Remember, do you ever been to Universal Studios, Rob?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I have not.
They took the Back to the Future ride and they turned it into The Simpsons, but it's basically just a bunch of 6-person carts, and everything is elevated, and there's one giant screen, and they're all motion activated, and you go through the ride. Why couldn't those be little Millennium Falcons? Right. And you go through this ride, and but that way you get 150 people doing it at the same time, instead of what they got now, where it's 5 people at a time, and you got to go through this this maze of a line, and they can only get so many people through it in a day. It's just crazy.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought it would be great. I mean, because I was thinking all these things. I'm like, man, I don't know why. I don't know why they're so stuck on stupid. I don't know. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. That you can't fix stuck on stupid. And like you said, like Dmajani said, we're smarter than you, or we had to get my money back. You could have got your money back and more.
They could have gotten back so much more if they would have just, like I said, if they would have just left the EU alone. That's just money printed for them already. Yep. It's printed for them already.
That's the main thing.
Because what would have happened is, all you had to do is, like I said, if you would have started with Jaina Solo or Jaina Phil, I keep confusing that, but if you would have started with her, that would have put so much new interest. That first off, look at that. Because by the way, she's my second favorite Star Wars character. Shocker, right? I like a female protagonist. Imagine that, Disney, because she's fleshed out, right? So you start that out with her, and guess what's gonna happen? People are like, wow, I need to know more about Jaina. oh, here's 20 years of books for you to read.
That's exactly.
Really? All right. And then you just go from there.
You don't have to build this world. It's already built for you.
Exactly.
Just
Yeah.
take advantage of it. And then all you got to do is build on that foundation. That's all you got to do. You can take a character in a different direction, and I don't think that it would hurt as much if we knew we still had the EU intact. Because you could take Luke at the end of the EU journey, and then he does something maybe it's a little different, but we still understand that everything else is still intact. But because they just flushed it, and we lost these great characters, like we lost Jason and Jaina, we lost Anakin Solo. We never got Ben, Skywalker.
Exactly.
We never
Ben,
got
and that really pissed me off the most.
Yes.
The F is you naming him Ben Solo. She did not have the connection to Ben like Luke did.
Not at all.
His name should have been
sense to me.
His name should have been Bail Solo, if you're going to do that.
Bail Organa, right? Exactly.
Yeah,
Her adopted
because
father.
that was her adopted father. If anything, that would have been his Bail Solo, right? You would think that, right?
I can't
But
believe
they're gonna make him
we
Ben.
missed
Come
out
on,
Mara
man.
Jade.
Yeah, I
we
know.
missed out on
That's
having
so-
Mara Jade in this new
Yep.
sequel trilogy.
Yep.
What a great character that would have been.
I agree.
And what an interesting character, too, when you think of who she was, the hand of Palpatine, and that whole backstory, and the smuggler, and then, the would-be assassin of Luke Skywalker, and then the bride of Luke Skywalker, giving birth to Luke Skywalker's child.
It's crazy.
Full-blown badass Jedi in her own right.
Right.
And you just missed out on that. If you didn't read the EU like a lot of people didn't, these new Star Wars fans didn't get to experience that. That's just sad.
Yeah, it is. It is. I totally agree with it. I mean, they're just sitting on. It's like, my God, like, you have this all. Like, it's so funny. Kathleen Kennedy is like, we got all these great new stories and great new characters. And I'm like, why are you giving us such BS? That's all she's been doing. We had a plan all along, and then JJ comes out and says, "No, you didn't. You never had a plan. There was no plan.
You're right.
It was.
It's obvious to anybody with eyes. It's like this movie, and then the next movie. You're like, wait, what are you doing? What the hell happened?
And how do you kill off the main baddie in the second movie? I was like, what?
And give him no development. And there's no development. There's no explanation of who he was. There's no backstory. They had to fix it with a line of dialogue in in episode 9. He was a clone. What? What do you mean?
What?
That's
you know
it?
why? Because JJ had to come up with something, because it seemed like, this idiot was like, I'm just going to kill everything off, and, I'm going to make it pretty depressing, and we're going to kill it,
and nothing matters, and
And I was like, okay, this movie was not a middle movie. This was like an ending movie. And I understand if you're going to continue with a trilogy and whatever. Because that's what Star Wars is. It's bouncing back and forth, right? It's a balance.
And
one leads, then the other rises, then the other comes back. That's what it is. If you look at the history. Go ahead, Fox.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to step on you. But when you go back to 2016, and when you look at those original interviews with the cast, with Daisy Ridley, with Mark Hamill himself, talking about where Episode 8 was supposed to go. At the end of Episode 7, you were supposed to see Luke on the edge of the cliff with the rocks floating around. He was in the Force. And then Daisy talked about this outline. This is at the end of when they wrapped up filming on 6 or 7. She was talking about this story, and there was this whole plan, and originally they had something intact, and then they just said, hey, let's just let Rian Johnson do what he wanted, and that's when it all just fell apart. Not that the story would have been that great, but at least it would have been consistent across the 3 movies. And it's just it's crazy. It's a train wreck on top of a dumpster fire, and it's just
beginning, middle, end. That's what that trilogy did not have.
Yeah.
Look, people can talk crap all they want about the prequels, which I never had. That's the one thing I was meant to say before. When people say George got all that crap about the prequels, I never saw that.
Never had a problem.
I love the prequels. Sure, it was. It could have been a little bit better with the dialogue. Sure, whatever. We could have that conversation all day, right? But what's the one thing you can't say about the prequels is that it didn't tell a story. The prequels told the rise of Palpatine and the fall of Anakin Skywalker. You got that in a package.
And it was a slow build in the beginning. It like that establishing shot I was talking about before. It introduces the world we are living in now, there is no rebellion. This is the old republic. This is a Senate that is established. This is a democracy that was in place. Here's the Trade Federation. Here's all this. I mean, and it lays it all out for you, and then it builds to, because they know they got 3 movies to do this. It builds to this eventual clone war that we're going to be in the middle of.
Right.
It's gonna rip this trilogy in half and the galaxy in half. And they knew where they were going, and so there was something there. You could see that. You just didn't get that with these movies.
Like, you know, in the prequels, we have one of my favorite characters of the whole Star Wars. I'm going to surprise you guys. Is Count Dooku, who I loved. I loved Christopher Lee.
I like him.
I love Count Dooku. I was like, why did we get it? Another thing, they could have gone, oh, you know what? We never explained who Cypher Dyas is. They mentioned his name. And Obi-Wan's like, and man, I started trying to figure out who that person was, but back then there was no internet, so you couldn't really figure it out. And I'm like, who are they? I was trying to figure out, is that another name for someone else? Is that Palpatine's name? Are they trying to throw us off? So I'm like, why didn't we learn more about him? Why didn't we learn about Dooku and what made him change? And they could have showed him. And I mean, you get it later on, but man, to see it, watch it, feel it, man, I'm craving it. I want to see these kind of stories. I want to see. It's not just, I need a Luke movie. Okay, that's great. You want to start with Luke and Vader because they're the most popular. Start with the most popular guys. Give us a great story. Start there. Get us back into it. But I would love to see some of these old Jedis and some of the old the Sith, like you said, the 1,000-Year War, when there was tons of Sith all around, and how they ruled one time and how they all killed each other off and destroyed themselves. Basically, people don't know that. You know, people.
Well, that's why the Rule 2 exists, because, which is funny because on Twitter somebody was talking about, what if they was trying to make some connection between the Force dyad and all this. I says, listen, the Rule of 2 exists because of the fact that there was too much infighting. Darth Bane saw that it bred weakness, because what happened is you would have, you could have like 10 douchebag low-level Sith kill a Sith master, and now you got weakness in front of you, right? You got weak lords. So instead of that, he says, you know what? Let's wipe them all out, and it will be one master who's badass. Like, you have to prove yourself. It's only 2. So if you're not bad enough to be, if the student challenges the master and loses, that means the student wasn't powerful enough. If the student challenges the master and wins, boom, now we have a stronger Sith Lord. And it's supposed to continue.
Right.
Continue strength. That's what it was about. It wasn't about no Force dyad or nothing like that.
And what's funny about that is Palpatine was so greedy that he never wanted
He didn't want to give up the power. That's the whole thing with Palpatine.
That's the thing
Palpatine did not want to give up the power. However, the thing is, see, this is the thing that, again, this is what people don't understand, right? The master always had their trump card. Think about this. Even if you think about somebody like your old school kung fu flicks, right? The master never teaches the student everything. The master teaches the student almost everything, but then the student has to go and master their own technique that will surpass that master. So, Plagueis, his mastery was with the midichlorians. So why would Palpatine know that secret? Because there's no Sith Lord that's going to teach their apprentice everything. They're not.
Yeah.
Maybe Palpatine might have stole some stuff, but he still would not have been able to do the immortality, because that's what he wanted. That's what all Sith really want. But Plagueis had almost mastered it to the point that he could control life. But if you read the books,
he was overconfident.
If you read the books, did you read the books of Darth Plagueis?
I didn't read all the books. No, I mostly read articles and stuff like that. That's how I.
So in the books, Darth Plagueis was so nasty with the midichlorians that. So remember how I told you he had his master Darth Tenebris. So Tenebris had 2 apprentices. He had one. His main apprentice was Darth Plagueis, but he also had an assassin to basically test him. So that assassin went out there to try to kill Plagueis. Didn't work. So what Plagueis did? He captured him and killed him and brought him back to life. And killed him and brought him back to life. And killed him. He mastered it. He had mastered that so much that he could do that. That was what Plagueis had mastered. So there's no way. Sidious's well, if you read the novel, Sidious's go to, like, his main thing was he was outstanding lightsaber duelist. Like that was one. Like, if you ever see the Clone Wars, the one with the CG version, if you see him fighting Darth Maul and Savage Opress, he's playing with them. And mind you, Darth Maul and Savage both had double-bladed lightsabers, and he's laughing at them. Yes, that's how nasty Sidious was. Sidious was his mastery was the lightsaber duelist. He was what they call it, ambidextrous. So that's what made him so nasty with the lightsabers. On top of the fact that he was very cunning, that was his mastery that he had over Plagueis. That's how he killed Plagueis, because if you're going by the actual EU, he let him think that that Plagueis was in charge. We say, no, I'm in charge. That's how he did it. So every master keeps their trump card to them. So there's no way Sidious would have known the way to cheat death like Plagueis did. No way. He was telling Anakin he knew how to do it to subdue Anakin. Remember, because that's his thing. Sidious is very cunning. He's insidious. He's like, I can teach you how to cheat death. Join the dark side. I'll teach you to save your wife. He's not supposed to know that. It was a lie. It's supposed to be a lie. He's not supposed to know that. Or now, if you want to say, well, he didn't. In the comics or the Heir to the Empire, he does clone himself, but he doesn't wait 30 years to come back. Think about that. In the Heir to the Empire, yes, Palpatine does use clones, but he needed an actual. Which, by the way, if you see the Rise of Palpatine, they kind of took that story from the EU book, but they did it poorly, because in the EU book, yes, he did use clones, but he used younger versions, and they did deteriorate. So what he wanted was a very powerful host, which is why he wanted Jason Solo. He wanted the body of Jason Solo so he can possess it. He didn't want to have to have somebody kill him or whatever, that nonsense they put it there. But that's how they basically got rid of Palpatine, is that they made sure that he couldn't possess anybody, and that's how they really killed him in the EU. But I don't know. It's.
But wasn't that the way that they were going here? Wasn't that the way they were going in the Rise of Skywalker? Well, if you kill
but think about it. Why would you wait 30 years? Remember what we just say? Palpatine was thirsty for power. There's no way he's gonna sit around for 30 years on Snoke clones. He would have came back. He'd have been like, okay, I'm back. They didn't kill me. That's what Palpatine would have done. He would have just came right back, like he did in the EU. He came back, but as his younger self.
Right.
But he did it 5 years. It was like maybe 1 to 2 years of between the Return of the Jedi and the Heir to the Empire. So it wasn't a 30-year gap. It was like a 1 to 2 year gap. That makes more sense. I'm Darth Sidious. I remember, he's the legitimate ruler of the galaxy. Why are you sitting there? Why are he hiding? If he's alive, you Darth Sidious, you the legitimate leader. He is. Like it or not, he was the legitimate ruler of the Empire. What you hiding in Exegol for?
For 30 years.
For 30 years. What you hiding? You talking about Palpatine, somebody who craves power more than anybody. He's going to be sitting around in Exegol with Snoke clones? He would have been like, yo, I'm back. These fools can't kill me. I'm the Emperor. Get on your knees. That's what he would have said.
It was so weak. I mean, listen, I know JJ was in a bad spot. I'm not going to give him a total pass, though, because there's literally anything you could have said.
Yeah.
Anything you could have had the real Snoke on Exegol and his, clone was killed in the second movie, and he could have been the real bad guy. You could have done so many other things, but you got to bring back Palpatine to try to right the ship.
Listen,
it was the best stretch.
The best fix would have been, it's Plagueis. That's all they had to do.
Yeah.
Because Plagueis would have been the one who knows how to cheat death. Remember, that was the whole reason why he was telling Anakin that. You could have said, oh, well, Palpatine was lying to Anakin, but Snoke really did know how to cheat death. That's all you had to do.
And I can't believe there wasn't like some kind of a reference that this is how disconnected they are. If for some reason you're going to have Palpatine come back, why wouldn't he at least try to justify it by referencing, his past, Plagueis, the freaking words that were in another movie. I mean, it was right there. I mean, instead of just playing it off saying, well, what did he say? There are some things that are unnatural. You know, when he
the dark side is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
Which is just weak and it's just I mean, come on, you just sort of explain that away in a sentence and then you move on. It was just so weak overall. And you could have, even if you were going to do, you know, Palpatine, you could have done it better. But
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean,
incompetence is what it
is.
Look,
the thing was, JJ's main character was killed by Johnson. So now he's sitting there saying, well, what am I going to do? I want to get fan service, right? But at the same time, I got to have this big bad. What didn't make any sense is like Calous sees him and he's like, oh, I can give you all these ships and I can give you all this army. And he's like, yeah, I already have, bro. I don't need your army.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm running things. What do you need? What are you talking about? Yeah.
Yeah. And in the end, like I was waiting for this epic space battle that was supposed to be, according to them, the best space battle ever. What space battle? We got a bunch of horses running in the ship.
There was nothing. They just shot Star Destroyers. We're just sitting. They were parked. You hit parked cars is what you did.
They were parked
and then they had Sporces. Remember Sporces?
Space horses. That's right.
And Palpatine had to do everything. Like he's sitting there, like, okay, I'm gonna take care of everything. Everybody, don't worry. You guys don't have to do anything. I'm like, are you really? Is this really retarded?
When he shot lightning in the sky, I was like, this is insane. They have jumped the shark 4 times. This is
you know what's the problem? You know what's the problem? Because the simple fact that they don't know what they're doing. Because Palpatine does, at least in the EU, he does know a force technique called Force Lightning Storm. It is a lightning storm that he can, but it doesn't go all the way to the freaking atmosphere. It's basically like he can basically make like a lightning storm around him to basically kill everybody, like almost like a AOE move. If for my RPG players, if you have an AOE maneuver where you can basically take out a whole bunch of people at once, right? That's what the Force Storm was, right? But they're gonna make it. Oh, I want to shoot it up in the air
and just take out multiple ships. I mean, what the hell? It's like this.
Look, Palpatine's supposed to be nice, but not that nice. Come on now.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
It was kind of, I don't know. I was like, so what are all these ships for? What do you build this army for? And first of all, how many people fit in those ships? And like 50,000 or something like that.
You know what? A Star Destroyer is supposed to have about at minimum is in the multiple thousands.
Yeah, so
it's like an aircraft carrier, and like an actual aircraft carrier has a crew of I think 5,000 people. So roughly that,
Yeah.
But
which bigger than that because the aircraft carriers. I mean, a Star Destroyer is way bigger than an aircraft carrier.
Way bigger than an aircraft carrier, exactly.
Yeah. By the way, Billy says, I don't know if you played Battlefront 2, but Star Wars Battlefront, he says, like the ability in Battlefront 2 when Palpatine has all the electricity and I think that's exactly what the
it's a Force Storm. That's actual. Yeah. That is an actual EU maneuver. He does have a Force Storm technique. Which that's another thing too. I mean, look. We could talk about we could be here all day talking about the stupidity, but think about this here. There's one thing that we don't really see is like they don't show like new force techniques. Oh, they show her healing people. Oh yes, bringing people. That's not what people want to see. They want to see something more like I don't know, like actually like a Force Storm, like something that will actually do, some, like or like Mace in the Jedi power battles where he could basically take the lightsaber and spin it around him. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that.
My favorite game is The Force Unleashed, and you can explore that if you leave the EU intact and say, hey, listen, ever since that last movie that y'all saw, The Return of the Jedi, Luke has been building the Jedi Order. He's been built. You have more Jedi. There's been experimentation within the Force and using powers and all that, and you could have made all this stuff happen, and it would have seemed organic or at least possible. But to just have Rey show up, hey, yesterday I figured out what the Force was. Now I'm healing worms. I mean, it was ridiculous, man.
Like y'all don't understand. Like this stuff we're talking about, I'm not trying to give away all of the stuff, but I'm definitely. This is topics that's gonna be on my video I'm doing today. Okay, it's gonna be topics I'm talking about.
Good, I'm gonna be watching it. Good, man.
Good. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, to me, and then it goes to the question. Well, she can heal. What would have happened if in the past they were able to heal? And you know what? That means that
Anakin could have saved his mom, right? That means
Right.
that Obi-Wan could have saved Qui-Gon,
Yep.
right?
Luke
And then and not to mention the fact that they completely destroyed what hyperspace lanes do, or warp
Oh,
speed.
my God.
They
That's-
destroyed that.
Just gone.
They basically just they basically had like explosive diarrhea on Star Wars. They just took a crap all over it. Like, it was just terrible what they did to Star
And
Wars.
it's funny how, like, when you look at those movies, you're like, okay, oh, we have Crate. Yeah, so we had Hoth. What's the difference? You got a bunch of... You got
Oh, wait.
sand
This
as
is
compared to
salt.
snow.
This is
I mean,
salt.
yeah,
It's not snow.
Salt, that's what salt. So I'm
And,
like,
and it's so funny. They literally put that in there just to distinguish the fact that it's not snow.
Just so you
Yeah.
wouldn't say,
Yeah.
this is Hoth Light. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's totally like, did you see the scene where they all, there's a little moat in front and they all get their guns, and I'm like, what am I thinking of? Hoth, right? They had
Yeah.
the cannons. What are you thinking of? Hoth. Oh, you know, that's first thing I'm thinking of.
AT-AT,
Okay,
just
great.
like Hoth, all of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The walkers. Like, come on, man.
I think that if they, I mean, really, I mean, if you think, and it's funny, it all boils down to that one decision they made. Don't flush the EU. Keep
Yep.
it there and pick from it what you want. And when you
Right.
introduce your sequel trilogy, you could say whatever you want to say. I mean, and you could have
Right.
all that established, going into it,
Right.
know, and you could lean on that and you can draw from that and then cherry pick what you want. But when a new force power comes into being, let's say force healing, it's not a stretch now because, okay, well, maybe they developed that after Return of the Jedi. Maybe that's something they explored. Maybe
Which,
they
by the way,
looked at
force healing
scrolls and all that.
was something that was introduced in games. I mean, you just
Right,
talked about
right.
the Force Unleashed.
I mean,
That
like,
was-
whenever-
that
was a power.
Whenever he takes the force in him and then explodes, right? All these things that look great, and that's why they're in the game. Bring that stuff into these new movies, and you could see
Right.
it, and it would make sense because now you say, hey, there's a bunch of Jedi that have been training. Hey, they've developed these different force techniques, and we know that Jedi are they gravitate towards different force powers anyway. Not everybody is
Absolutely.
equal within the
Absolutely.
force in certain ones. So you could have people that have mastered this technique or that
Did-
technique, or vice versa.
You just dropped the video. I just saw it come on my screen. I just saw it pop up. I was like, oh, I just got the notification. Well, speaking of it, this has been great, man. I feel like we can do this again. It was so much fun, man. I hope we
Yeah,
can.
absolutely. This is
I appreciate it.
like, and it's funny, like it's cool to be able to talk about stuff like this because like I literally haven't talked about Star Wars in so long.
I haven't either.
Because I just lost. It's
Yeah.
the luster's gone, bro. It really is. It's just and it sucks because I used to at least once a year pick up my Phantom Menace and watch. Which, by the way, I watched the Samurai Jack version of the Clone Wars, which is the vastly superior. I don't care what anybody says.
Absolutely.
Is the much vastly superior version of Clone Wars because of the fact that it was short, to the point, and it went right to episode 3. That's why you didn't need all this stuff they put in the Clone
need
Wars
7
with the
seasons.
Ahsokas and all the stuff like that. Like Ahsoka grew on me, and now I'm losing that love for Ahsoka because like now it's just like they're basically Captain Marvel on her. That's what they're doing with Ahsoka. They're giving her the Captain Marvel treatment. They are inserting her everywhere to make her like what was it, a couple weeks ago? Dave Filoni's like, well, Ahsoka is technically Luke's senior, implying that she's more powerful than Luke. And I'm like, okay, well, if that's the case,
I don't think so.
if that's the case, Yoda shouldn't have lost to Palpatine because Yoda's everybody's senior.
Yeah.
He's 900 years old, right? The age doesn't matter. It's the power level that matters, right? So Ahsoka might be, and which, by the way, Ahsoka is not a Jedi. She said
Right,
it
yeah.
herself.
Correct.
She's not a Jedi.
Correct. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. It's like I said. At first I didn't like Ahsoka. Then she grew on me, and then I was like, oh damn, that's how they're gonna kill her. Because in what was it before Ezra pulls her out of the world between worlds, we thought she was dead.
Right.
We thought she was dead. And I was like, oh wow, that's how she dies at the hand of Anakin. That's crazy. But you know what? I'm gonna throw something real quick for y'all before we get out of here, because I know you're about to wrap this up soon.
Yeah.
Imagine this. Imagine this, right? Because according to Lucas, from what I understand, Ahsoka was supposed to die in Order 66, right? So imagine
She
this
should have.
being
Yep.
imagine this being the choice that Anakin has to make. You either save your wife or your apprentice. What if that was the decision Anakin had to make? And he would have chose his wife over her.
Yeah, he would have chosen.
You know what I'm saying? That would have been such a dramatic. To be fair, that to me, I will say, out of the Revenge of the Sith, to me, I think that was kind of lame the way he basically took his full step into the dark side, basically cutting off Mace Windu's hand. I wish it would have been something a little more dramatic. That's the only thing. I like Revenge of the Sith. That's by far my favorite one. But to me, that could have had a little more gravitas if we would have made a decision. Obviously, Ahsoka didn't exist then when they made Revenge of the Sith. But let's just say, for S's and giggles, that she did exist at that time, and that was the decision. That was because there's another little thing from the EU that a lot of people don't know, that to become a Sith Lord, one must make a sacrifice. So, in the EU, how Jason becomes Darth Cadus, he kills his aunt. How Anakin becomes Darth Vader, he kills all of the Jedi. So, and even Palpatine kills his family.
It's
right.
And
Yes.
we talked
There's
about
a sacrifice that the Sith has to make to become a Sith Lord.
Dmajani, you just talked about Luke, and I just want to make this point. Luke being less than Ahsoka. This is across the entire. I mean, everything that Disney Star Wars touches, this is consistent in the smallest of ways. So you see my Star Wars RK1 up back here. This obviously came out. It's a beautiful thing. I love it. This came out after Disney purchased Star Wars. And you can't see it now, but you can kind of see it. And I wanted to set up a separate camera, but I can't. Here's the high scores. And you know how they have names sort of plugged in for all the high scores, the simulated high scores? The number 2 high score is Luke, L-U-K. The number 1 high score is Rey, R-E-Y.
Really?
It is seeped into they can't let it go. They have to in every aspect.
Wow, that is
push
insane.
Push her up.
They have
It
to-
has made it that far. It is.
Wow.
That's
They'll
some
never admit a
old
mistake.
that's some
Absolutely.
old like what they call that, indoctrination type of ish right there. That's what that is.
I'll take a picture and post it on Twitter today. It's nuts.
You
It
should.
bothers
You
me
ha-
every
yeah,
time I
you
fire
should.
it up.
You
Yeah.
should definitely do that, Knight. I want to see that. You should
I'll do
definitely
that. I'll do
that.
that. I'll do that as soon as the stream's over.
Okay, well, the stream's gonna end right about now because I gotta go make dinner for everybody. We're gonna all have dinner, I should say. But before I go, I hope you subscribed. If you're watching the replay or you've been here in the chat, thank you everybody who came. Check out all these channels. I'm gonna give them whatever they want to say. We'll start with 19K, man. It was great to see you again, and true honor, man.
All right, great to be on the channel. Thanks for having me. And yeah, if you're interested in something a little bit different, I talk about basically these arcade one-ups here, but really building your own man cave or game room or women cave. I'm going to be inclusive. Okay, we're not going to be exclusive. But I'm a kid with big toys, and if you're curious on some of these projects, swing by and check out the channel. And if you like what you see, consider subscribing. I do appreciate it. Rob, thanks again for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, dude, it was an honor and a privilege. I hope we could do this again.
Absolutely.
Next up, Chris. Chris, I know you just came back, but I do have
sorry.
to get going. But go ahead.
I think that Dmajani's idea there, the separating, Ahsoka and Padme, and making him have to choose, and then choosing Padme, yet at that moment, make it something where a Jedi would have saved Ahsoka because love doesn't play into the Jedi,
Exactly.
that type of thing. Make that the reason why he does
Yes.
it. That way, it's absolutely for certain that he is making in the Jedi's terms, the wrong choice. But I love that idea. That's wish they would have done something like that. But anyways, Real Review 2000, Chaos Central. That's my other channel. I do stuff over on Hanstar's channel. So I always say I run like 2.5 YouTube channels,
Wow.
which is crazy in and of itself. Who knows? But yeah, all sorts of stuff. Just all sorts of stuff. I call it ADHD for YouTube on my channel. Chaos Central is very much Chaos Central is very much panel discussions and like roundtables and things like that. We discuss all sorts of things, sports sometimes, pop culture, current events. We dive into it all. And normally I would say that there's just no safe zone on that because listen, we talk about politics sometimes. We talk about, Colin Kaepernick and all that crap. And just, we go into a lot of different stuff and there is no safe zone, which is okay because at the end of the day, we all are okay with each other. We understand that not everybody's exactly the same. And that's the whole idea of Chaos Central is we're a community where you can say what you want to say. All you have to do is be respectful to what other people say because that's the key. Listen, you can be crazy and if you're an SJW, that's fine. As long as you can be respectful and listen to somebody else's opinion without blowing up. That's all I care about. So that's what Chaos Central is about. So thank you, Rob. Sorry, I just got in at the last minute again. But thank you for having me on. Thank you for inviting me. And if you do it again, let me know because this is just a special night. I had to do 2 videos. Did 4 yesterday. Did a live stream yesterday. Got a live stream tonight.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Chris, thanks for being here, man. I was really happy you came. You guys have just made this stream even way better than what it was. And I just want to thank you so much, man. I would definitely do it again. And another guy who I met that's honor and a privilege, Mr. Dmajani, who's really knowledgeable about the Force. So go right ahead.
Welcome. Thank you very much for having me, sir. Name's Dmajani, Dmajani. The Lord Commander Pimp of YouTube. You can catch me on my channel. I do shows Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We will have the Dark Council, which is on hiatus, but we have a very special surprise coming up real soon.
Nice.
Then Saturdays and Sundays, I do live streams, which is the Spellbroken Live and Spellbroken Gaming, which are Spellbroken Gaming. We are working on, as you can see behind me, I have one of my harem, Jesse from Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm working on, right now, we are on chapter 17. So we have 17, 18. So basically 2 more chapters left of the game. And we are getting ready for Endwalker. I actually just purchased my pre-order. So my Endwalker is counting down for my upload. So we're ready for Endwalker when that comes out. And yeah, so that's basically it. I really enjoyed having me up here, and come check me out on my channel sometimes. Thank you.
Yeah, you guys are great. Dmajani, 19K Fox. It was an honor meeting them in New York City. Chris, hopefully one day it'd be nice to meet him. These guys, great guys. Great.
Yeah, I only have Kansas City. I'm sorry. This is as good as it gets right here behind me. Sorry. We can't compete with New York.
Just want to thank Lady Toriel, who also has a channel. And she's been around. She's a great supporter of all our channels. So
yes,
you check her
big
out. Big
shouts to the lady.
She said, you guys are all great. I have watched all of you for a long time, and I've gone and checked out her videos. She's a great person, wonderful. Make sure you check out Lady Toriel. Make sure you check out Chris 3000 over here, down below. Dmajani, 19K5. Great guys, great channels. I'll see you all. I love you very much. Take care. Be well.
Later, y'all.
We'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.
Peace out.
Later.
Take care.